Recently, I was asked by a lady to do a behavioural home visit. She lived in a complex. She was on the ground floor with a little garden, and she had a dog with her. She moved in December. She then received threatening letters from a man who lived in the house just across the way from her. He was threatening her with all sorts of things because her dog barked all day long. Now this lady was in a big tiz. She didn't know what to do, and before she had even taken the lease on this complex house, she had had to go through the process with the board of governors of this complex to have her dog tested, and the dog passed with flying colours. Now, the tendency these days is to have more of this high-density living, townhouses, cluster houses, small houses, and everybody's virtually on top of each other. There are also some of these complexes that don't allow pets at all, and there are some complexes that are pet-friendly. This complex was pet-friendly. When I arrived, there was a dog across the way from this house, a staffy that was barking, and as I approached the door of this lady's house, her dog did a little barking. But when we opened the door, went inside, the dog quietened down and was reading the news off my clothes. During my consultation, the dog was inside staying around us and certainly didn't rush outside to bark. What I noticed when we did go outside, that the gate to this garden area was right on the pathway where people walk along to the other apartments in this complex. And this man lived just across the way from this gate, and of course this dog had visibility and was barking when anybody walked down this pathway. Now, his complaint was that this dog barked all day. That is a very difficult statement. You need to be able to say how long the dog was barking. Was it all day, as he said, or was it just annoying him, so he went into this great big statement, oh, the dog barks all day. So the first thing that needs to be done is she has to get this man to log when the dog is barking. It's say the dog starts at 8 o'clock, and how long did it bark? Was it 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes? You need to log something like this. You cannot come with a blanket statement of the dog barks all day. That doesn't go with me. The other thing that I suggest to people these days, which makes life so much easier, is get a camera. Put up 1 or 2 cameras, get it through to your phone, and you can log in any time and see if this dog is barking. And you can also take videos of it, and then you can log when the dog actually barks. Because the statement of the dog barks all day is probably not true at all. This dog was being a dog. It was near this open gate, dog could see out, and anybody who walked by, it would give a bark. This is what dogs do. So, the man has to log the times, and the owner now can check up on that. In the past, you couldn't check up if you weren't there, but now we have all these cameras. You put up the camera and you check in when this dog is doing all the barking. You then can compare. Is this man correct in all his statements of the dog is barking all day? Or is it when somebody walks down the pathway? Or is it just because the dog is bored? But I don't think it's because the dog's being bored. I think every time somebody walks down that pathway, the dog is going to bark. What I'm trying to say here is, when a person goes and lives in a pet-friendly complex, there are going to be pets. And you cannot turn around suddenly and send threatening letters to people to say, your dog is barking, it's disturbing me. Apparently he was a stay-at-home man. I don't know whether he worked or whether he was retired, but when the dogs were barking, it was obviously irritating him. And absolutely, there's nothing worse than dogs that bark and bark and bark. I've had neighborhood dogs that have barked incessantly, and I come and go into my house. But you have to, if you are lodging a complaint, be specific in what you are saying. This man apparently didn't like the kids running around screaming and playing, didn't like the dogs. Well, then he should not have bought in a pet or child-friendly complex. He needs to go and live where there are no children and no pets. He's a bully as far as I'm concerned, because there are a couple of other women, single women, that have pets there, and he has picked on them too. I'm pleased to report that they are going to go to their body corporate and speak about his bullying tactics, because it seems that he is being a bully to these people. So if you do have a problem with a dog that is barking, you need to have your facts straight. Why is the dog barking? Is there somebody walking past? Is it another dog? Or is the dog just barking because it's bored? Then certainly something needs to be done. But I don't like bullying tactics where people send threatening letters and all sorts of things. That is not fair. Have the facts and then approach the owner. This lady was beside herself with stress. And every time the dog sort of moved or looked like it was going out, I'd say, no, come inside, shush, shush, shush. You can't live your life like that. So we made some behavioral modification plans to keep the dog away from the gate, all sorts of things to help the situation. But the most important thing is, you can't have people bullying you. That's the first thing. And if they do want to lay complaints, then they have to have it logged, that you know exactly for how long and the times that this dog is barking. And then as an owner, get your backup system of a camera, so easy these days, and you video what's happening with your dogs. Then you can solve the problem very easily.